What's up, YouTube? This is Autumn back with that heat, man. I ain't gonna lie to ya. Y'all been rocking with me on the EMINEM songs for sure. Y'all been taking y'all time with me on the EMINEM songs for sure. Hey, so we gonna head and do the documentary for sure. We need to know when he came up, what age he came up, you know what I'm saying? Who's his mom? Who's his, you know what I'm saying? We need to know, we need to dig in deeper, a little deeper. So we got the story of EMINEM full documentary. Ain't gonna let it. It's an hour though, it's an hour. So we're gonna break it up in parts for sure. So this is gonna be part one, because I know my camera run out fast. It runs, the battery temperature gets hot for sure. But we, hey, the grind do not stop. We're going to see what this bad boy talking about before we get to this rubber ass video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on the page, y'all down, comment, bang some. Make a video to me right to next again on the channel on the 10K Scholars Hit Game. Alright, y'all, we're finna go get into the video. Let's get it, let's roll. You know what I'm saying? I need a little deeper insight of everything. You feel me? Yeah, to my boy, I need a little. I know what it is and what it ain't. I done let it fly in, man. Don't even get on me. I done let it fly in, bro.
EMINEM, aka Slim Shady, aka Marshall Bruce Mathers III.
Okay, he's a third, so it's not just one, is he? You feel me? It's more Marshalls, you feel me? They call him Slim Shady, they call him Marshall. Hey, he the third for sure, okay.
Shady, aka Marshall Bruce Mathers III. He is a survivor, rap star, father, actor, felon, media mogul.
Ooh, I never knew EMINEM was a felon for sure. So that's something I just found out. You feel me? So, dang, that's crazy. I ain't never knew that. So we finna go ahead and get into deeper. You feel me? Deeper than what it is. Okay.
Father, actor, felon, media mogul, the voice of a generation. He has emerged as rap's most controversial performer and storyteller. An artist whose provocative imagery and dark rhymes have resonated with America's increasingly disenfranchised youth, and whose multiple personas have enchanted and hypnotized audiences worldwide. Born into a broken home, he is drawn deeply from the well of his own life, which provides the fuel for his vision and artistic will.
Oh.
His lyrics are his life, his legend, his alter ego, and his therapy. To understand
Facts. That's one thing I do know about EMINEM for sure. Like the music, it keep him going. I feel like, cause he just do it like he just, you feel me? I know how he do it like it's so effortlessly. You feel me? So I just know that's like his therapy and stuff like that.
His legend, his alter ego, and his therapy. To understand his music, we must first understand his life and the world he grew up in.
You feel me? That's why I'm here. We come to understand his life and where he come from. You feel me? What's the point of react to his songs? We don't even know where the man's came from and how he got his name, how he came up. You feel me? Stuff like that, the regular stuff. He said bury my. Hold on, let's get it.
To understand his music, we must first understand his life and the world.
John said bury my face in comic books because I don't want to look at nothing in this world too much. Ooh, from saying goodbye to Hollywood.
Grew up in.
Okay. Family values. Doctor slapped my mom. You got me. You got a sick kid from low down. Okay. That's pretty crazy.
I was born in Highland, Kansas.
Hold on, EMINEM's grandmother, Debbie's mother. Okay.
And my mother left my father
Grandma.
when I was probably about 9 months old and brought me to St. Joseph, Missouri, and left me with my abusive, alcoholic grandmother.
St. Joseph's, Missouri is a quiet working class town. It is a town Marshall's grandmother Betty grew up in, a town his mother Debbie grew up in. A place tarnished with the effects of alcoholism, abuse, and instability.
Dang, Missouri got all that for sure.
The challenges in Marshall's family life would be set in motion long before his birth. The residual effects of generations of abuse was passed on by his great-grandmother even as she lay dying.
Oh man, so it ran through his whole family for sure. So that abuse, it ran through his whole family. That's, you know what I'm saying? So it got to his grandmother.
Generations of abuse was passed on by his great-grandmother even as she lay dying.
She died a hell of a death at 93, and I was so glad. And she called for me on her deathbed, and I told her, I said, you know, I'm glad you're dying. And she says, can you forgive me? And I says, no, I can't forgive you. The way you beat and abused a little child, an innocent child. I said, you know, you're going to hell, don't you? And she looked up at me, and I said, God help you.
Despite the years of abuse, Betty dreamt of a better life.
Oh, she ain't show no sympathy there. She ain't show no sympathy. You feel what I'm saying? You did that to me. You did your dirt. She don't even feel bad though, for sure. So
God help you.
Despite the years of abuse, Betty dreamt of a better life.
Well, as a young girl, I wanted to just be a mother. I wanted a great big family, you know. I was going to have this house with a white picket fence, like everybody has, women. And I was just going to be so good to my children, bake for them, and, you know, just love them to death. But when everything went wrong, I married Mr. Nelson when I was 14.
Soon after a young marriage...
14 got married at 14?
Everything went wrong, I married Mr. Nelson when I was 14.
Soon after a young marriage, Betty gave birth to the first of several children, Debbie, Marshall's mother.
Oh, Debbie was so tiny, I was embarrassed. I was being so young, I had a hard labor, and my daughter weighed probably about 4 pounds.
If you were to do a drawing of the Mathers-Nelson family relations are like, it look like cats in a bag. This is a clan. It's hardscrabble, country folk who are close to each other, except when they're fighting each other.
She could not wait to have a baby brother.
Not long after a baby brother arrived, Betty realized Debbie was unwilling to share the attention of her mother.
Put him down for a nap one time, so I walked into the bedroom, and she's got her father's wrench, big wrench, just about to hit him in the head. I had to watch Debbie from now on, continuously.
Betty's marriage ended in
It went on. It carried through the family for sure, so that was just throughout.
I had to watch Debbie from now on, continuously.
Betty's marriage ended and the children had a succession of would-be stepfathers.
I cannot remember a time ever when there was not a man in the house. I really got close to my stepdads. They were pretty much alcoholics.
There was a lot of drama, you know, growing up in our family. There was a lot of police called.
I was sexually assaulted by my one stepdad when I was 12. He didn't get the job complete because he was arrested.
Come on.
I remember my mother coming home and the police taking him out and her telling me, you better hope I can get him out of jail. I don't believe you. And I ran away. It's like, I'm not facing him if you get him out of jail. I'm not telling him I'm sorry because I'm not sorry because of something he did.
She wanted to get out of the house so bad. Debbie just was tired.
Debbie searched for a way out. One day she thought she finally found it in a quiet boy who lived on her block and played in a local band. Marshall Bruce Mathers II.
I met Bruce.
Yeah.
And
It looked kind of scary though. That picture gave me little creeps though. Ooh, but she met.
Marshall Bruce Mathers II.
I met Bruce. And he was my knight in shining armor. Not even when I was 14.
Debbie comes in from school back. She says, Bruce and I are getting married. Tell her, Bruce. Yeah, he says, I love Debbie and Debbie loves me, and we're getting married.
Debbie and Marshall Bruce Mathers II were married in 1970. A marriage Debbie hoped would take her away from the troubles of home.
It wasn't that I didn't want to be around my brothers and sisters anymore. It's just I wanted my own life. I wanted my own child. And I wanted to get away from all that.
And next thing I know, she finally got pregnant. I was pregnant with Ronnie when she got pregnant.
On October 17, 1972, Debbie gave birth to Marshall Bruce Mathers III.
It was just in heaven. I mean, it's like, this is a child, you know, that's going to have everything. He's not going to want for anything. He's going to be so sheltered, so loved, so protected. Going to be the best mother in the world. And I made a promise with God. The alcohol, the drugs, the drinking, the pot, any of that stuff, they would never go through that. The fighting, none of it.
Finally happy with her own family, Debbie left for North Dakota. but Bruce would take over his father's job in a hotel. The couple made their home in the basement of Bruce's parents'
She went off, made her own family and stuff like that. And the third, they went on, her husband, her baby.
father's job in a hotel.
Marshall.
The couple made their home in the basement of Bruce's parents' house.
Debbie said that things began to get bad. She'd go down to the coffee shop or the hotel, and Bruce would be playing around with the girls. Naturally, she'd be jealous. He'd tell her to take the kid and go home. She had a lot of lonely time on her hands, and then he began to beat the heck out of her.
I decided to go back to school because I wanted my children to be proud of my career choice.
Man, no. I knew it was gonna be a problem though, for sure. I knew it was coming though. I knew it was coming.
Marshall Bruce Mathers II was a knife thrower. He threw knives. He used to always like to see how close he could get to your foot without hitting it.
No,
I remember her calling me and saying that she's coming home.
She left on a train when he was maybe 1 or 2 years old. She says he took the clothes he was wearing, they got on a train, they headed for St. Joe. And I think that was sort of the beginning of what was going to be many, many moves throughout his life.
Debbie, running again from abuse and the effects of alcoholism, left Bruce and returned home to St. Joseph with Marshall.
His dad never wanted anything to do with him. Marshall tried to contact him. Debbie tried to contact him.
He went to California and never was seen again.
Bruce Mathers then disappeared from his son's life forever. Like Betty, his grandmother, and Debbie, his mother.
My father must have had his pennies up in a bunch because he split. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know if that's the right word. From cleaning out my closet. I don't know, man, but I already knew Dad was gonna be like that for sure, man. Come on, man. Come on. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Eminem had it hard for sure.
From his son's life forever.
He already had it hard on his mom's side. Now he having it hard on his dad. His dad left, you know what I'm saying, California, and just spread it. He ain't want nothing to do with Marshall.
Like Betty, his grandmother, and Debbie, his mother, Marshall now was caught in the same cycle of parental abandonment. Marshall would never know his father, but he would never forget him.
No. He'll never. I'm stuck with it crazy from memory. So Marshall, so Eminem used to write comic books for sure.
When we first left his dad and moved back to Missouri, I lived in a one-room efficiency apartment.
Debbie tried to make ends meet, bouncing from job to job and house to house, always trying to make a better life for her child, not realizing the effect such constant change would have on him. Debbie and Marshall moved back and forth from St. Joseph, Missouri to the Detroit area as many as 20 times in his childhood.
20 times in his childhood, bro. 20 times.
We did move around a lot, but it was always to better ourselves because I could not stay with my birth mother at all. I mean, we were there a couple of days, and that was like an eternity. And every time it would be like I'd rent a house, it'd sell it right out from under me.
Debbie may have tried her best, and most parents do. Trying your best, though, doesn't mean that that's exactly what your child needs.
Soon, Debbie and her mother began to clash on how to raise Marshall.
I don't think he was an angry child. I think he just got his feelings hurt a lot. And I think his mother controlled him a lot.
He was a very big mama's boy. Marshall was a loner. He did not really want to get out and play with other kids.
Okay.
I had to kind of coax him. He wanted to be with mommy all the time.
He never could speak up for himself, but he'd just go pout and go color his color books, you know, or go get on his beanbag and just watch TV, kind of like a puppy in a corner, you know? Just go back to my corner.
He had a disruption in
He didn't want to be bothered with nobody.
attachment early on, in that his father left him.
There are people like his Uncle Todd who may be the closest to a consistent father figure.
You know, I was their protector. You know, and I would take him fishing, or try to teach him what a man was supposed to be. I'd get on him about homosexuality to make sure he knew that, you know, boys go with girls and, you know, vice versa, and, you know, things like that.
They moved around a lot, so he didn't have a lot of stability. So those are some of the early things
that would mess up somebody's head for sure. Like the stability, it makes like, oh, it's not stable for sure.
So he didn't have a lot of stability. So those are some of the early things that may have begun to make him think, is the world a trustworthy place? Is it okay?
In the middle of the chaos, young Marshall began to find expression in music.
Yes, sir.
Marshall was surrounded 24/7 with music. While he was in my stomach, I was saying to him, and take the speakers and put all through the house, in the rooms. We just always sit against the wall and just be like he hummed himself and just bounce back and forth.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I used to do that in the car to every beat. That's why I used to say I be moving my head so fast for sure. I used to do that to every beat in the car. They'd be like why hitting your head in the back of the seat so hard for sure. I used to do that too a lot.
He hummed himself.
I love the
and
beats.
just bounce back and forth.
Constantly. Bounce off the backseat of the car, the couch. If there's music playing, he did this.
The teachers would tell me, this kid is retarded. He's bouncing and bouncing.
No way.
He has to sit still.
He'd go like this all the time. He was real hyper. And had to have him on Ritalin. And he'd keep going like this and keep going like this.
Boy, ain't crazy.
He bounced off the back of the seat the first 8 years of his life. Rock
8 years
to the music.
8 years is crazy. Come
This
on, man. Stop
game.
interrupting the documentary, bro.
You're not ready.
Growing older, Marshall would find escape in the fantastical world of superheroes and comic books.
It's okay.
He was wanting to act out cartoon characters. And so I would let him.
You could open the door in his room, and he'd have Castle Grayskull going. Okay, he'd have his cartoons on, he'd have whatever he wanted, but he entertained himself a lot. He was all he had for years. He liked it that way. I mean, he played with friends, but he liked, entertaining himself and creating his own little world.
He was into Batman, and he was Batman. So everywhere we went with him.
That's why I say I knew he was in some type of comic or cartoon, stuff like that. Batman, Superman, all that.
World.
He was into Batman, and he was Batman. So everywhere we went with him, he had to wear that outfit. Most kids, they'll go, yeah, Batman, and jump off of something, but he had the lines down, he had the moves down.
A lot of times kids, when they feel like their external world is impoverished or they feel neglected, they need to feel big and powerful and strong. And they can feel big and powerful and strong by associating with X-Man, by associating with Batman and Superman, because they have superpowers then. So it really helps them feel like, okay, maybe I'm not so small, maybe I'm not being as abused as much, maybe the world can be okay because I can be He-Man.
Marshall's blossoming artistic abilities provided a quiet retreat from the chaos of his surroundings.
Marshall loved to draw and get into a lot of arguments and squabbles with teachers saying he did not draw this free-handed. So I would say to them, okay, well.
Drawing like that at a young age is crazy good. Come on, man. You drawing like that? Come on, man.
He did not draw this free-handed. So I would say to them, okay, well, let's have him draw something. Sit down and draw upon what you'd like him to draw.
That's so excellent.
Because he could draw anything.
Debbie and Marshall continued to move with Marshall, changing schools as often as every 2 or 3 months.
He was always a new kid, and if he did return to some place he'd been before, he was usually behind, and so those kids didn't know him from before, so he was always starting over somewhere. He talks a lot about this nomadic upbringing in his music, this sort of peripatetic life where he's jumping from one place to the other.
Ronnie, Betty's son, Debbie's brother, was only 2 months older than Marshall. While Betty and Debbie clashed on how to raise them, the two boys would continually bond.
Their little carriers sit side by side and they make their little baby talk, goos, and there was a bonding already there.
When they were together, you should have seen them. I mean, you couldn't really tell the two apart. And they both had the same color hair, about the same height. And when they talk, they sound
that's crazy.
just about the same.
Yep.
I encouraged them too to laugh and dance and be happy. The two of them are quite a team.
Did not want my mother around Marshall. And that was just me. I had to be there. And Marshall had been told so many lies. I didn't trust her around him. And the dysfunction, the yelling, the screaming, the fighting, the drinking that my stepdad should have been doing. I didn't want him subjected to it.
We didn't get too much time together as we started getting
I
older.
feel like she's right for that. You feel me? They didn't want Marshall around her mother because, a lot of habits, bad habits he can carry for sure. Some mothers like that. They want their son to go the right way, but y'all let me know. We're tuned in.
I didn't want him subjected to it.
We didn't get too much time together as they started getting older. David, we kept pulling Marshall to Michigan and Ronnie to Missouri.
As Marshall approached the end of his grade school years, Debbie and Marshall were settled permanently in the Detroit area, a city still reeling from the race riots and major destruction only a few years earlier.
There were a lot of tensions at that time, a lot of racial tension. The city was in such chaos that the National Guard was mobilized.
In the streets of Detroit, a racial war zone had been created by the '67 riots. Marshall would find himself in the middle of all of it. They always lived in neighborhoods barely a step above the ghetto. And in Detroit, Marshall consistently found himself one of the few white kids in predominantly black schools.
The neighborhood EMINEM grew up in is particularly interesting because there are still houses there and people still live in them, but they're just across the street from the suburbs. What you end up with there is a neighborhood where people have sort of filled in the gaps. It's almost like hermit crabs. They found a shell that suited them, they could afford, they moved in there, and they finally became homeowners. And just across the street, not too far away from there, the people who moved out, who feel like they didn't move out, they didn't make a choice to move out, they were driven out. And so there's a lot.
Eminem was everywhere, bro. He was everywhere, bro. He was, you feel me? So they finally found somewhere they could settle out, and that was in Detroit.
Who feel like they didn't move out, they didn't make a choice to move out, they were driven out. And so there's a lot of bitterness and there's a lot of tension, that 8 Mile divide.
As a 9-year-old at Dordt Elementary in Roseville, Michigan, Marshall was bullied for months by an older student named D'Angelo Bailey. These beatings came to a head in January 1982, when Bailey cornered Marshall in a restroom and floored him with a snowball packed with a heavy object. No one reported him missing from class, and he was found unconscious and bleeding hours later.
It was a nightmare when my son did not come out of school.
Come on, man. How can they do that, man? Come on, man. Unconscious, bro. Come on, to a kid, bro. Come on.
And bleeding hours later.
It was a nightmare when my son did not come out of school, and the school denied it. They do that. And they denied anything about my baby laying in the pool of blood in the bathroom, and I found him laying there and running out to my van with them, with the teachers and principals. Well, we had a skeletal crew. We didn't notice him missing. No one knew how long he'd been there. My main concern was to get him, medical treatment, and because he was, when I found my son, he was on the floor and he was having a seizure.
How did he beat him that bad though? Like, come on, bro, that bad, bro. Like, what the heck is wrong with people's?
A seizure.
The attack left Marshall in a coma for 10 days.
I wanted to beg God to spare my son. I was an only child, and told him if there was anything ever I did wrong in my life, to take me, not my child. They told me they give up on my son. 4 doctors. In 4 days, 21 doctors.
4 days, 21, bro. 4 days, 21 doctors is crazy.
4 doctors. In 4 days, 21 doctors.
Once awake from the coma, Marshall's recovery would be long. Having to relearn all his basic motor functions, he also suffered from headaches, loss of vision and hearing, nightmares, and nausea.
My medical bills were in excess of over $150,000. I had to quit my job to take care of him. And I mean, it was overwhelming.
Anytime you have any kind of head injury, it can be life-changing. So when you have an injury to the brain, the effects can be really long-lasting. I had a patient many years ago who had a head injury, was meek and mild before, turned very angry and aggressive afterwards.
It took a year for Marshall to bounce back. I had to work with him every day, teaching him how to tie his shoes. He had become almost like an infant. With the medications they had him on, that became Dilac.
What kind of child do you that bad for you to beat him that bad, bro?
Low pressure. I did not, when I give him the medication, I seen a zombie, and I did not want him zombied out. I didn't believe in it, so the medication was going to go.
used to get and bullied on my block from I'm Back. He wrote this all in like a comic book or something, right? From scenes of song, from signs of song, of music. Good, I can't read myself. Since birth, I've been cursed with this. I've been cursed with this curse to just curse from the way I am.
Marine Mechanics Institute is right in your backyard and ready to train you to prepare for...
It comes from my grandmother's side. She rapped all of her life. She called it rhyming. And she said when she was a little girl in Alabama growing up, she remembers her mama working the fields, cotton fields. You know, whites worked right alongside the blacks in the cotton fields. And they used to rhyme songs and make up things as they went to pass the time.
Marshall's father was in a band, and then when we went back to Lowellstown, he was in a band somewhat at the State Wine Club. And then I was in a band when we went back to Missouri, which was called, it was...
His mom is pretty. His mom is very pretty.
The Satellites and Daddy Warbucks, which I had sung a little bit of backup.
I play guitar, I play piano, I write.
Marshall, he loved music. His first concert was the Talking Heads.
Ronnie played drums, and Marshall tried his hand at drums too.
Ronnie was artistic, but not near like my grandson Marshall.
Ronnie was always, I mean, when he was little, I got him toy drums and little boom box, they call them. And he turned up full blast, and boy, he just danced all the time.
Eminem's uncle Ronnie, who was about the same age as Eminem, is given a lot of credit for sort of infecting him with the rap bug.
In 1981, Ronnie played a song for Marshall that would change his life. It was Reckless, a song featuring Ice-T from the soundtrack to the movie Breaking. It was the first rap song Marshall heard. He took the tape from his uncle Ronnie and played it over and over and over.
He started breakdancing a lot in Missouri and had me hold a sign up that he made, a great big cardboard sign around my neck, and it said breakdancing, 25 cents to watch. And I mean, this kid could spin on his head for hours. It's like, you gotta wear your head out. I can remember him sitting in his room for hours. Basically, he'd sit up there and play the same beats over and over and over and write. He would wake me up like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Good way to go, good way to go, good thing, you know what I'm saying, get that beat going, and you feel me, in your flow, you in your zone, you in your room, you feel me, you catching the vibe for sure. Hey, that's a good way. He used to be out the way for sure, that's what they said.
He'd sit up there and play the same beats over and over and over and write. He would wake me up like at 3 o'clock in the morning. Mom, is this a word? Does this rhyme? He's like, just please help me find it. So we get the dictionary out. Yes, it's a word.
Bro, I used to do that too, but I used to like watch, want my sister them to watch me, I mean, listen to me rap, but hey, you know how they get, they don't want to hear nothing. Nothing.
You know, and what's the definition of it? And him and my brother Ronnie would do stupid tapes together and act, you know, like they were performing in front of people.
So when he got into music, it was like his natural sense of rhythm came right into his play with his stuff.
The two of them, I can just see them. Here becoming Ronnie with the speaker from this side and Marshall from this side and Eaton in the front. They were going to be big singers and rappers, the two of them. They were going to go far away, and they were going to be in movie pictures with the rapping and singing. I mean, I just see them, and sometimes I see them, and, you know, it's wonderful, and other times I break down and cry.
Marshall's Ice-T influence would need to stay strong to pull him through some...
Oh, that is Ice-T, so listen to the music. He said, let your mind feel free. That's what you gotta do for sure. That's what I need to tell myself.
Right.
Marshall's Ice-T influence
Ice-T.
would need to stay strong to
I think Ice-T in one type of show.
pull him through some serious life changes.
You may be getting a bigger attitude than maybe Kim got from Bad Influence.
Latest in the line of foster kids Debbie Mathers had taken in, Kimberly Scott entered Marshall's life in 1988.
Hey, before we even start right there, I think we're going to put that in our next part. You feel me? So it can be parts, you feel me? Because my camera's finna overheat. I'm not even going to let clear. But hey, this is getting good. This is getting juicy. Hopefully y'all tuned in. Hopefully y'all rocking with me to the end. Ooh, I ain't gonna let it, but hey, we go ahead and do part 2 later on. Y'all run this up for sure. Hey, if y'all like my reaction part 1, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification down, comment, some big videos to me react to next game on the channel.